Cheers. Clink. There's definitely going to be some burps incoming.
Yours are always a lot louder than mine.
You betcha.
I don't know who's burping.
For sure, it'll be obvious. Episode 18. Here we are. Me and Tay, Fowler, and friends. See, that's why the family name's up there. Because sometimes there's going to be not just me, but Tay. And everyone, all, except for this one, well, it will be, all the Fowler and Friends episodes are now up on YouTube. So you can go back and watch your favorite ones. Where did we film it? How did we film it? They're all filmed the same way, so that's not really going to be a question. Where?
It is very, very interesting to see.
You never know. You never know where I'm going to be.
People are talking.
Yeah. You never know. And what am I wearing? Odds are it's a tank top. Today,
or a crappie.
Today it's a crop. I've worn this crop before. You can't really see right now. I'm probably going to go hood up. This crop has the best hood of all time. I feel like I look like an assassin from Assassin's Creed. And that is why I like it.
You know who looks best in his crop top?
Oh, our kiddo.
June.
Yeah, she pulls it off really well.
Yeah.
Because it's like a dress on her. And she looks like a Sith. She looks really like a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
A Sith Lord baby.
Hover over the ground.
She could. Mm-hmm. She could. If she was one with the living force. Anyways, we're just going to have a discussion. We're just going to do what we do on this show, and that's talk. There's not going to be... Who knows what there's going to be? We're just going to do it and see what happens. This is being recorded on Monday, November 18th. Was at a lake house this past weekend. Sorry about it. And I had mentioned doing one with... Excuse me. There they are. There's the burp. Mentioned doing one with...
Everyone count on your own.
Burp count. Yeah, burp count. Just put it in the comments on YouTube. But I had mentioned to my sister about doing one again with her friend Kyle, who she said in episode 1, go back and watch it, who she said in episode 1 should be on the pod. And so I said, let's do one. But then we were kind of having family time and it didn't really make sense. So now we're doing this one.
Now you're stuck with me.
No, I'm not stuck with you. You'll be great. You'll be great.
Runner up.
No, you're not a runner up. You're just a reoccurring guest. Next episode, a little teaser. There may or may not be an ass tat happening. That is why I put all of these on YouTube, because I wanted to have them all up before that one. So that way I could post that one to YouTube immediately, because that one will be worth watching, because Tay will be giving me and our guest, I'll be getting an ass tat just above my right butt cheek. I don't know where our guest is getting their tat. Yes. And
it's been about a couple of years since I've poked people.
Well, maybe beforehand you can touch up my unk tat. Do you have your supplies? Do we need to get those?
No, I have everything.
So, a little teaser for 2 weeks from now. Looks like it's happening the day after the Ohio State-Michigan game. Go Buckeyes! It's been quite a busy time for us here recently. I feel like there's been a lot going on, and I feel like you and I have been doing a good job of sort of parsing out where we're hoping to go as a family recently, and been getting more clear on where that's headed. But
yeah, I think every weekend we've been seeing people or doing something. There was one Sunday, I don't know if it was last Sunday or the one before, not like this, like yesterday, but the one before. Mm-hmm. We didn't see a single person, except I had to get my car fixed. We went to breakfast during it. But
Yeah.
that was like 9 a.m.
I did go for a run. So I'm like, no, wait, it was raining outside. I didn't see anyone out there.
Yeah, we didn't leave the house
Uh-huh.
except after that morning.
Uh-huh.
And it was such a wonderful family day. Like, just to be us three and just see our dynamic for an entire day. Like, even dinner time. And because typically, like, you come home and I'm already either feeding her and we're eating, or like I have food ready to go, or you're just not there because you're coaching.
Yeah, so, getting after it.
Providing for the family.
Yeah, but no, that was super nice. But it was good for us to touch base. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with this show and with the pump and run and with what Tay wants to do with yoga. And
do they know about the pump and run?
Yeah, they know about the pump and run because I talked about it in the BDR episode, and I talked about it with Hopwood in his episode. And so yeah, if you've been following along, I've got a 5K in December, on December 8th, that I'm going to use to determine what my training is going to be like for the 12 weeks to follow. And it just so happens that the 5K I signed up for is 12 weeks exactly before the Arnold pump and run, which, again, for a reminder, you have one attempt to bench press your body weight up to 30 repetitions. Each repetition is 30 seconds off of your 5K time. And the winner last year, I can't remember their time.
That's what you told me.
I told you what?
That you like ran the numbers and based on the person who won last year, and you said you'd come in third.
Yes, yeah. But I can't. Yes, that I would. Yeah. So based off last year, assuming I got 30 reps, I could come in third, where I'm at right now. But I was based off what I did on the treadmill 5K, and so this road 5K is a little bit different because on a treadmill, as long as you have the discipline to not reduce your intensity, in fact, it's easier to increase your intensity as you go. As long as you just hold on to it, you don't have to worry about pacing. Whereas when you start to get tired on flat road, sometimes you start slowing down unconsciously, and you have to be mindful of that. And so it'll be good to do that 5K because I haven't done one in 12 years.
Oh my.
On the road. Yeah, I know. And then that will determine my training splits. So like if I'm doing mile repeats, it'll determine my mile times for those and that sort of thing. And so that'll be good. But, and then my goal, so the idea is do well, but also not document, but use the training program that I used. And then, depends on, this is actually what I was thinking about while I was running. So you're going to hear me think about this in real time. But while I was running today, sometimes you make a plan and then you have to adapt based on life circumstances. You get injured, you got to do something, happens to June, whatever you got to do, you got to modify. And so some days maybe aren't going to be as good as the others. So the idea is I'll have made my 12-week program, including my lifts and my runs beforehand. Then obviously I'll do the 12-week program and I'll keep track of what I actually do. And then as I'm going through the program, I'll be making tweaks based off of, this was not ideal. When I made it initially, this was a little bit off, That way, when I do the pump and run and do it well, and this is the whole idea, I'm able to sell more or less like an ebook that is Jake's Pump and Run Hybrid Training Program for people who are looking to be a hybrid athlete. Obviously, the times won't necessarily be the same and line up, but it'll be the refined version. So it won't be what I planned initially, and it won't be what I actually do unless everything goes according to plan and I do exactly what I do. But it'll be the tweaked version that is what would have been the ideal training program. So that is what I'll put on the market. Hopefully it'll be ready to go same day of the pump and run. And this is the current iteration of Fowler-Fit that I've been working on since, well, I've been working on Fowler-Fit since 2019, but this is the current iteration. And so I did that's what I called myself when I was doing in-home personal training during COVID. And then also it's what I marketed myself at when I was at Mesh and at the barn. And so there was going to be a different iteration when we moved back from North Carolina, but I got some advice from a friend, and then some other stuff didn't line up. So I had to change what I was going to be doing then and kind of push it back a little bit, especially didn't want to overload myself with all that was going on because we were going for a house and you were pregnant. And so it seemed that it should be better to focus on finding some stability and finding a house.
We don't know stability.
And getting the Airbnb ready and putting that stuff on hold. And now here we are. So I don't know. Let's talk about what you hope to do with your yoga stuff. Because, we've talked about your mom stuff before. We've talked about your yoga stuff, but now you're starting to get a bit of a vision as far as what you hope to do. So tell us about that, love.
Yeah.
And project your voice.
Sorry. Well, it's nice the camera's closer.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah. I moved the camera and mic closer.
Well, we talked on the way home yesterday from the lake. That was, on the way home. I want my own studio one day. I think it would be really cool because I've only been with one studio, Yoga 6, but for like 4 or 5 years as front desk and teaching. So I kind of know.
2 studios. Same.
Yeah, 2 different studios. Yeah. Different states.
Different states, different studios, different franchise, still same company. Yeah.
But so I kind of know like what is working for those studios and what issues there were, involving teachers and front desk. And I just have like all these ideas in my head of like what I would do for my studio and how I would like it to be like presented to people. Like when you walk in, like I want it to be warm and all that, like how I want to teach and like what type of class I want to teach. And it's really exciting. I have all my yoga books just right there. And so I've been really kind of looking through those more and being home, stay-at-home mom, like when June's napping or when she's playing around, I'll just look at some books, and my interest has gone up a huge amount actually after having June, because like I'm a mom now. I'm still Tay, like I'm still me, but you're kind of a new person too. And so I feel like this new person, this mother Tay, has a new outlook on life and new goals. And
what's this new outlook?
I mean, really, like I'm more confident.
How come?
Because of June. I don't know. Like I don't
like
think about myself.
Because you slayed birth? I mean, that has to be part of it.
No, I don't honestly think about that.
Oh, okay. So then where's this confidence coming from? Like
I'm
your ability...
so focused on her,
okay,
that I don't even think about myself. And so I don't think about my insecurities. I don't really think about that anymore.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Any other mothers that are listening might feel the same way, but the focus isn't on me anymore because it's not about me anymore. She's number one. So I'm not thinking about all the things that I don't like about myself. And instead, I'm able to get a workout in almost every day. That makes my confidence get so high because
skyrocket.
Like
Yeah, I'm here to hype you up.
Yeah, so anyway, like my confidence is up and I feel confident. I've been teaching more. Well, not more. I've been teaching the most that I've no.
What?
I've been teaching a lot. I've taught a lot of classes.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I've been trying to say.
Well, yeah, but you're actually teaching more than you did in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I only did 1 a week.
Yeah, and now
So
you're
I'm
doing
teaching
3.
3 a week.
Which isn't like crazy reps, but it's more reps than you were getting.
Yeah, well, when I was pregnant, I was teaching 5 days a week.
Yes. Yeah. So you were getting some good reps in then.
Yeah. So I have a lot of classes under my belt now, and I've talked to different teachers. I've been hearing their opinions on these different types of classes that they teach, what they like, don't like. I've been having more opinions and not feeling bad about them because they're just my opinions, and I'm just having more thoughts about I don't like the structure of this class. This is what I would enjoy more. And so I really am excited to hopefully bring that to my own studio and bring like what I see as an important thing to teach people rather than like someone else's.
So since you're kind of going through this phase of rediscovery in this post-birth, it's been about 10 and a half months, post-birth Tay, and you're finding out what you like and don't like about yoga and you're taking more information in, do you feel like you're finding your opinions changing on things? And so like you're taking new information in, you're like, oh, I did think this, now I think this way? Or are you having your initial opinions sort of fortified and you're like, okay, I do actually feel good about that as I take more information in, and now I'm going to continue down that path? Or what's the balance of what's the difference between stuff that is staying the same and stuff that you're throwing out and taking in?
Yeah, that's a really good question because
I'm getting better at this shit.
You're doing so good. So proud of you.
Uh-huh. That was Tay. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, the second part, like I feel like there's things that have been in my brain that I'm like, I'm not sure if that's something that I want to go 100% on. And then the other half, there's all these kind of new things that are popping up. Like I have a Yoga with Tay Instagram, and so there's people on there that are doing really cool things that spark ideas in my brain. And so I think after having June, like I said, I'm not really thinking about myself and like my insecurities and what I don't like about myself and all that. Honestly, it's kind of bringing more space for me to hone in on what I'm good at and all the positives about myself, to then focus on that and be like, okay, well, I'm not as shy as I was, and I'm really good at leading people through yoga poses more. And there's new limits. I think
Limits how?
there's new bars to be set, I guess.
So, in the sense that you have achieved certain things, that certain goals already, and now it's time to set new goals?
I feel like it's time to step it up.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know, there's just like this new confidence about myself that I know I can do more. And
more what?
More work on myself.
Like on yoga, or just like?
Yeah, because I think it's every like yoga's kind of a way of life anyway.
Sure, definitely.
But yeah, teaching wise, I feel like I need to read more, be more educated, so I can grow my practice better and educate my students.
What do you want to read?
Anatomy is a tough one for me.
Oh, okay. So just like the technical,
Yeah, like
anatomical aspects of yoga.
people will come up to me and be like, my neck, like when I look down, like, do you have any like,
Neck stretches or strengthening exercises.
yeah, and most of the time I'll be like, well, sometimes like when you just bring your ear down to your shoulder, kind of take half moon circles, but other than that, like, it's out of my expertise. Like, I'm no doctor, so I don't want to.
You want to stay within scope of practice for sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, because that's like my worst fear is being wrong. And when like the students are looking up to you because you're their teacher, you're their coach, like they hold you
To a higher
to a
standard,
higher
for sure.
standard, and I want to meet that, and I don't want to, but then I don't want to be wrong, and then they injure themselves or like,
Sure.
she wasn't right, and like, should I listen to her anymore? Or, like, I don't want to.
Sure. Well, I
ruin
mean, I think if you don't know, it's definitely smart just to refer someone to a specialist. I mean, that's like personal training 101. When you go through your personal training cert, they're like, hey, if you don't know and there's an injury involved, refer them to a specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because all of a sudden you're way outside your scope of practice. Okay, so
Yeah. I feel like that was a bunch of gibberish.
What was?
I was trying to answer your questions, and I
think
because like
you
at
did good.
the time that I was going through that big phase of, like, it was like maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
I was
probably
just
6
like,
weeks, yeah.
what, like, it was like a wave came over me, and like I was like, this isn't where I want to be. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. Like, it was just so many emotions, and I couldn't really like articulate it.
Mhm.
But I knew what I wanted to do, and I suck at journaling. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
But I just don't stick with it, and I should have written it all down. But now, because it's been a month or so, it's still kind of hard to like articulate it because it was such a big change. But like, I know now where I want to go with my personal career.
Sure.
Rather, like, set motherhood aside, where do I want to go?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it can be challenging when you realize something about yourself or something about the world and it changes you and part of you almost dies in a sense, and then you're trying to explain this new feeling, this new sensation, whatever the thing is that opened your eye, but it takes a while because it's also brand new. And so
Yeah, how do you find words for something that you're experiencing for the first time?
yeah, well, part of that can be journaling and not being satisfied with what you write. You write it down and you're thinking to yourself, that is not how I feel. Why does it not make sense? And part of it is just also the pursuit of education in your own way to find those answers. You're like, okay, this part of me's gone. I feel these things. I'm not sure how to fully pen them down, but I do know what is drawing me. So, I can't speak specifically for you, but whatever is drawing your attention, you pursue that. And then maybe in that pursuit, you are able to more clearly define this new version of you as you acquire more knowledge and more experience and pursue the path further down. One question that might help that is, what do you think your strengths are and how do you play into them? And then I'll ask you a follow-up question.
Like general strengths, or like
in the realm of yoga?
Definitely being present with everybody, because it's really hard to teach. I mean, you're not you're not really supposed to teach to like one specific person in a group class. You know, you have to try and reach everybody with modifications or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like and I have just heard it from people like that I teach with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And what I say does come from the heart. And I literally type out stuff on my phone that comes to mind that I'll say during class, like little mini meditations or like just,
Mantras,
yeah, something that
a
like,
focus of the day.
yeah. And I feel like I'm really good at that, like coming up with stuff in the moment. Like I'm not in the car, I'll think of what I want to teach that day, like a little sequence, and I'll just revolve it around that. But I'm not like thinking about what should I tell people today? Like how should I sound today? Or it just like kind of comes to me. And
So you would say that your strength is that you teach from the heart and it's authentic to the moment. Like even
yeah,
even if you pre-plan something, if you feel a certain way when you walk into the studio, you might
yeah,
throw what you planned out the window and say, actually,
definitely.
this is what I'm bringing to the practice today.
Yeah, and it's not what's how I feel, I guess, but it's more reading the room.
Mm.
Like you got to read the vibe of the room, of the people, which is good. I always ask um, whoever's in there first or whoever's coming through the door, if there's a good time, you'd be like, hey, it's really good to see you. How are you doing today? Like get the vibe of a couple people just by being honest and asking how they're doing. And then I always ask, is there anything you guys want to work on today? Like anything you want to open? And kind of just go with that.
Hmm. So what about some other strengths? If you could just list them out, like
Personable.
uh-huh.
I feel like I'm pretty good at being personable and listening and kind of empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge one. Um, yeah, honestly, that's why I want to read more of like anatomy and kind of learn and get a deeper sense of all of the poses. Because I don't teach inversions because I can't really do them. I can do a headstand, but like I'm not going to teach something I can't do because that's dangerous, and I want to make sure that I'm
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Definitely don't want to do that.
yeah. But yeah, I know I have those strengths, but the one that's just really eating at me is I feel like I should know more. Like I still have imposter syndrome a little bit.
Yeah, I get
Like
that.
that still hits. Like I'll have great classes based on what people say, but sometimes people will be like, "That was great." I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know what you guys were doing, but I thought that was terrible. Like just my sequencing, and I felt like I sometimes don't do a good job of explaining certain postures if it's something that I'm bringing that's new um, into the space that people aren't used to. Uh, yeah, I want to be stronger in that area, and I think that weighs on me a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and so it outweighs all the things that I said before. But I know that I have those strengths too, like being honest, being authentic, speaking from the heart,
Mm-hmm.
uh, being empathetic, like all those things. But it's the practicality
Yeah,
that I
so
want to be.
you're pretty good at setting the vibe, but you're looking to increase your technical, physical ability as an instructor.
Yeah, and I think that if I did my teacher training in person,
Sure.
I would know so much more. I did it online, while planning our wedding. And because I just wanted to teach so bad. And I was like, I'm just going to do this on my own time. Like, it was a great program. Like, I have all the materials still. Like, they don't go away. So that's really great. But, like, you're just staring at a computer and watching videos, and you don't have that community that in-person training gives you. And, like, I'd never really had anyone to talk to.
Yeah, it can definitely be important to bounce ideas off of folks. So we actually have this poster in our living room called 8 Limbs of Yoga. And there's this geometric shape. It's a circle with a bunch of other circles shaded differently to represent the 8 limbs. And each limb has a name. And I can't... We got Yama, Niyama, Asana. Hold on, let me try.
He has his glasses on. I don't know what he's smoking.
Pranayama. Is that how you say it?
Pranayama.
Pratyaharara. What's that one?
Pratyahara.
Dharana. Dharana.
Dhyarana? I don't know.
And then there's then there's dhyana, and then samadhi. And those are the 8 limbs. And so just looking at that, obviously I don't really know any of what I just said, but Yama seems to be about community and ethics. Niyama.
Asana.
I know asana. Well, so asana is the posture part.
Yeah.
And so you want to get better at your asanas.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know, and that's like
the muscles you're working in the asanas.
Yeah, like so, I know.
So hold on. So, but there are 8 limbs of yoga. So, kind of explain that a little bit.
Well, if you go out to the grocery store and you just ask a random person, "Hey, what's yoga?" They'll be like, "Oh, isn't it?" And they'll do like a warrior pose. They'll do a pose.
Right, and so people think of the 3rd limb, which is the asana part.
Yes.
Right, and
that's why I say yoga is a way of life, because it is.
For sure.
So the 8 limbs, starting with 1, the yamas, which is community ethics, and so that's you want to practice nonviolence. You want to practice.
Are you just reading off the sign?
Yeah, I don't remember this stuff.
Well, hold on. So before you read off the sign, though, what?
Well, okay. So they're numbered 1 through 8. It's not just like random. So if you practice your yamas, which is 1, then your niyamas, which is 2, the asanas are 3. If you practice each of those, it goes up to where number 8 is samadhi. That is enlightenment. So you have reached enlightenment once you have, what's the word? Harnessed, when you've...
Samadhi, enlightened living superconscious state, the mind emerges with the object of meditation.
Yeah. So like the asanas were created so you can stretch the body, work the muscles to sit comfortably in meditation, which is samadhi. And you can sit there for like hours at a time.
Okay. So
it's...
Wait, I don't think I ever put that together, where the asanas are just so you have the proper mobility to sit with correct posture and meditation for hours at a time. So eventually, after some untold amount of meditation, you slip into samadhi.
Mm-hmm.
That's badass.
Yeah. And the asanas do, there's heart openers. There's hip openers where you can maybe release some emotion. It's like there's other benefits.
Oh yeah, you can have a
rather than just sitting in meditation.
You can have a meditation as you're going through the asana. State. Yeah, for sure. Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, but that's just a great way. Like if you practice all of those things, then you will reach samadhi, which is true enlightenment. Meditative state. You are reaching a higher power, God or whatever you believe in. that's higher of yourself. And the pranayama is breath work.
Probably some sort. It's probably like not an actual out of body experience, but you probably lose sense of body and sort of merge.
Yeah, and like the space. So like a lot of times in Shavasana at the end of a yoga class, a lot of teachers, including myself, will be like, slowly start to move the body, like reawaken, bring your awareness back to the space. And I feel like when you probably sit in meditation for a while, you literally forget where you are, like, or just lose that sense of the space that you're in and the mat underneath your skin. Like you don't feel it anymore, like, because you just.
Oh yeah, I've definitely. So I think I mentioned this in an episode or two, but I used to just lay in my closet.
Freaking hobbit.
I used to just lay in my closet with all the lights off and the door shut, and I would do this for an hour a day, and I did this for probably about a year. It's like 2019, 2020. Just to meditate, I read a book called Becoming Supernatural, and
you'll just hear like a hint of meditation music.
Yeah, drifting from the closet. And
he's meditating.
Yeah, I'd probably do it from like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. just about every day. And because I'm looking at this one, Dharana, is that right? Dharana. Concentration of one-pointedness of mind. And where's the other one I just saw? Pranayama, control of the energy, control of life energy, breathing exercises to calm the mind. So I do that just even outside of those closet meditations. Like now, I'd say that's the main form of yoga I practice is the pranayama, because I'm pretty good at controlling my breath to drop my heart rate, and also using it as a way to like detach from the moment if I feel myself getting caught up and just whoa. And do like some box breathing or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of variations, but
it's so simple of a thing.
Yeah.
But it can just bring you from one place to another.
Yeah. And sometimes you're actually able to drop out of whatever the distress state is, or the distress state is still there, but it gives you space and you're not super reactive. And that can be super, super helpful. But yeah, going back to the closet meditations, not every time. In fact, it was only a few times, but there was a handful where I definitely lost track of time, and all of a sudden, like the hour would be gone immediately. And then I also definitely remember not being able to tell where my back was on the floor. Like obviously I was laying down on the floor, but I stopped feeling the floor, almost like when you like melt into a couch or something. And I couldn't, like I'd sort of left my body, not in an out of body experience, but the edges of my skin were blurred with my surroundings. And there was like a tingling sensation, and I felt like my pulse was pulsing with the universe, not to get too out there, but that's what it felt like. Not to say it was samadhi, but definitely lost bodily awareness. And that, maybe the handful of times, maybe it was only, 2 or 3, the handful of times that happened, I remember coming out of that, my alarm goes off and you come out, and I'm just in my apartment, come out the closet, and it's you and Sean out there. But I knew what I had just done, and I was so excited about it, because oftentimes when you practice meditation, it's easy to want to chase that, and you become, and you get caught up in chasing that instead of just being present with where you are. And sometimes that really sucks, because where you are is just in a shitty place that day, and you're just super distracted, and you don't get in any sort of mind state, and the hour feels like 3 hours, and you just want to stop. And that's your practice that day, though. And that is more of looking at it, it's like the dharana, concentration, one-pointedness of mind, where just stay here, stay focused, focus on your breathing. Oh, you're drifting off. No, come back in. You're just working on your concentration. And so at the time, I didn't think of myself as practicing yoga, but if you're looking at the 8 limbs of yoga, you
do it every day.
Yeah, for sure. It's very cool. That I know that you are trying to digest more yoga stuff. I feel like there's going to be a time, and I don't know when. It could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be 20 years, who knows? But we have so much yoga material. I feel like eventually there's going to be a time where I have to dive into it, because I'll get to a point where that is what is missing. I started with meditation, but then I went, and at the same time was also going the personal trainer route, and then group fitness and structured breathing and that sort of thing. And, then the nutrition and, so like I'm still chasing that avenue. And now it's more sort of athletic performance, but eventually, with you being my wife and with these resources here, I feel like eventually it's the journey is going to lead me there. And it'll be nice. It's inevitable. Yes, exactly. Hold on. What does he say? Shoot.
What?
The hardest decisions require the greatest wills. That's what, something along those lines. That's what he says to Doctor Strange. And then Doctor Strange is like, I think you'll find our will equal to yours. And he gets those little shields, and then Thanos is like, our. And that's when Tony drops a bit of stuff on him. As seen in Infinity War. But yeah, okay. Well, so based off where you are now, how would you want the vibe of your studio to be? How big, like max capacity? And then what are you trying to practice?
I don't know. Part of me wants to just have like an open studio. Like there's some places where you just walk in and you just lay your mat down. Or like other places you go to like a little lobby and then you go in. I don't know. Like starting off, I think I'm not going to have enough money to like pay.
Well, let's just forget about money and just paint the ideal scenario. This is dream space right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would have a lobby, and it would be full of plants, and no overhead lighting. Fuck that. So there'd be like cute little lamps and stuff.
Language.
Okay. Yeah, and then you go in and like I just want the space to be warm and like obviously natural, with all the plants, live plants. And maybe I would say like 20 people. I think that's good.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good size.
And I want to make sure that the space is big enough so if there's 20 people in there, it's not like mat to mat.
You're not stacked, yeah.
I don't understand why studios do that. Because like if you guys know what Wild Thing is, you're in down dog and you're just flipping your body to the side. Or even if you're just sticking a leg out to the side, like you're on someone else's sweaty, gross mat. Like, why? So I don't want that.
Would you want to offer hot classes?
Definitely.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Now that I'm not pregnant anymore, I kind of like the hot classes. I think I always did. I just didn't take them often, but I like them. I think they're beneficial and fun. But I think I would do like hot classes, probably power, slow flow, and like restorative stuff, and like yin, like really restorative.
Yeah,
I
think yin yoga is awesome. One, because you get the super duper deep stretch, but also it's highly meditative, and also sometimes you want to leave that pose,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't. Or you can do anything, but you're not supposed to. And so there's like a battle of wills where it's like, oh shoot,
And that's where pranayama comes in.
I'm only a minute and a half in. I got another minute and a half to go. What?
Yeah.
And you start thinking about everything else. You kind of have like a claustrophobic panic attack from being in this pose for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I try to teach my students that, because in the restore classes I teach now, we only hold poses for like 2 minutes. But even that's
pretty close.
Time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And so like the first, 30 seconds, you're still trying to find your way in the pose. And then you still have a minute and a half to go. And that's where like I'll start to be like, okay, take a big breath in, think about where you want to create space, where do you want to soften into the body. And on your exhale, think of sending that exhale like a path to the space that you want to soften, even if it's just your jaw. Like one thing that you want to soften in your body. Because just doing one thing, it's going to hopefully, calm your mind as you're trying to relax into this pose that can be kind of intense.
Yeah, any sort of relieving sensation is definitely welcome.
Mm-hmm.
in that sort of environment.
Yeah.
Okay, so 20 people, hot classes, some restore, some yin, some
Nothing below 80 degrees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be warm in there.
I agree with that. Okay. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. I just want it to be like super welcoming, and I don't want it to feel like a competition. I don't want it to feel like all these other bougie like yoga studios. Like it's just wear what you want. I don't care. Like whatever you feel comfortable in, like if you're super new to yoga, like I want to make sure that you feel welcome.
So all skill levels.
Everyone. Yeah.
Wide net cast.
Yeah. I want it to be a place where you can feel what you want, move how it feels good, and just be selfish. That's what I tell people sometimes. I'm like, you have 1 hour to be selfish, and then you can go back to your world. Like all the people that you need to take care of and work. It's good to be in a bubble for a little bit. A bubble of yourself.
So do you think it's being selfish? Because sometimes I view it in the sense of whatever the physical activity you're doing, if it's providing you with stress relief and making you better at being able to navigate stressful situations and maybe keep from taking stress home from work or that sort of thing, or any number of ways that stress can be negative, is it being selfish, or is it sort of like preventative maintenance so that you don't make the people who are in your lives worse? Does that make sense? Because I don't when I think about yoga, when I hear the word selfish, I'm like, I feel like that word just doesn't even belong in yoga.
Yeah, I guess it does. I mean, I'm not trying to take it as a negative thing, but it does sound negative.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I didn't mean it that way.
Sure.
I meant to be
like
focused on you. Like, because, like you said, like, focus on yourself, better yourself, so you can care for those people.
In service of others.
Yeah.
Right. You want to put your best foot forward in service of, your family or.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll say, like, if there's things that you want to let go of, or, something that's been bugging you, or something that doesn't bring you joy or whatever, like release it so you have more space to hold more positive things or more space.
Yeah, a negativity release.
So you can hold space for others,
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if I was a yoga instructor.
I feel like you would have a lot of good things to say.
Yeah. Maybe. Hard saying.
What do you mean?
Nah, I think I'd be all right.
Yeah, you'd be great.
Yeah.
You just offer a lot of modifications.
Sure. One of the things I've been struggling with recently in my group fitness classes is, let's see, how do I phrase this? Dealing with complaints. I've always been very good at dealing with complaints and complainers. And I feel like I'm getting to a point, and it's also challenging because, where I slick. Yeah, I want one. Where I, thank you, am good, at dealing with complaints or whatever. And there's people who are paying a lot of money to be in these group fitness classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's boutique fitness. They expect, clean studio, good equipment, customer service, high quality workout, all of those things. And they should get that because that's what they're paying for, right? So I completely believe in that. I'm a huge, huge proponent of customer service and checking your shit at the door, because you're at work, and yes, people suck sometimes and they complain, but they're paying to be there. You're paid to be there. Mm-hmm. And, I want to make sure that even if they're in a rotten mood and, maybe acting in a way that is less than optimal, that I'm still providing a good service. All that being said, I feel like complaints are getting under my skin quicker, like mid-workout. I think that's what it is. I dropped my little thing. It's when the complaints happen mid-workout, and what they say might even be valid, but it's like, hey, you're in the middle of a workout.
Yeah, you can't just stop.
You've got a finite amount of time to get what you came for, and you're gonna waste time complaining. If you got a complaint, talk to me before class, talk to me after class, unless of course something is happening, someone's doing something encroaching on your space, whatever. Like there are certain complaints that are very, solid, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and deserve to be remedied immediately. But just like these little kind of things that you just let that bother you, you're gonna let that interrupt your workout. It's so unrelatable to me. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about like Rocky Balboa, the movie.
Oh yeah, me too, all the time.
Well, just like terrible equipment, no real good place to train. It was like a true underdog story, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People aren't trying to be professional boxers in there or anything, but I don't know. I kind of like going into a place and like the weights are a little bit chipped and it's a little bit grungy and a little bit, dirty. And it's like, yeah, this is where you get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong. I love a beautiful, polished, clean gym where everything's brand new. I mean, that's awesome to have new stuff. But there's something about like the 40-pound dumbbells I have. One dumbbell handle's a little bit thicker than the other. They're kind of chipped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that's just life. Not everything's perfect in real life. And so I kind of like it that sometimes, the equipment, you got to make do with what you got and be creative. And I don't know. I really shouldn't complain about that stuff though, because, people are paying for a specific thing. I'm just saying that I have gotten worse at hearing those things, because I'm like, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the Yoga 6 Studio. They're all the same. Like, you literally buy if you buy a franchise, you buy the package of like how it looks.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, I mean, you want brand consistency, and I get that 100%.
Yeah, but just it looks like, someone said this to me. It looks like, might have been Tay or Kelsey, like sterile, because it's just like, it's green and blue are the colors, but it's just like everything's clean and perfect lines and like.
I mean, I like it,
and it looks great.
I like the water that's there. Yeah, they got like it's like electrolytes, reverse osmosis,
something
super crazy water.
Yeah, but like, just, it's a lovely studio, but I know that's not how I want my studio to be.
Sure.
I want it to be like unique and have all these little. I mean, there's like rocks somewhere. Like, if someone brings in something, like, sure, put it on the shelf. I don't care if it brings the vibes up.
Yeah. Whatever. I actually feel gross for having even complained a little bit about what I said.
You never complain.
I take it back.
Well,
no, there's no take these back. I mean, that's just how I felt.
You could edit it out.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Your words are out there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like how I was telling everyone to be selfish.
I think this pod is starting to get slightly more silly. Just barely.
Do you like that?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was really hard for me to be normal, silly self. I think in the first one with Lisa, that was a little bit easier because there's like the sibling banter. But, after that, like there's a lot of guests. I've had a decent amount of guests on where it's like, I had them on for a specific educational reason or, a bit of an expose on them, that sort of thing. And like, I want them to be the star of the show. Having said that, I've been feeling like bland, but I feel like it's starting to get a little bit sillier. Just micro silliness is being added. And that's a good thing, because I feel I've got some good one-liners and some good rants and stuff. Like I think what happened was the one I did with Rob. Go watch it on YouTube. The one I did with Rob, when we talked about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and that sort of thing, and I almost forgot we were doing a pod because it was just Rob and I geeking out and talking about Star Wars and stuff. Watch yourself. I feel like that was a turning point where we could be a little bit sillier. And I said something with Andrew last time in the last pod where I was listening to it again. And I was like, oh, it wasn't risque. I guess what I'm missing from these pods right now is just me towing the line, because that's my favorite thing to do. It's just toe the line. And, it's kind of hard because you want to make sure you're not being, obviously I have a day job. And so you don't want to do anything that could compromise that or something. But, oh man, that's what it's all about, is towing the line and
toe that line.
So that's my goal, is to toe the line, to push the boundaries a little bit more, and just get a little bit more ridiculous, because I feel like that's what I'm missing. It's just a little bit of a sense of fun. And honestly, I've been watching this as we're filming, and the static, it is nice that these are now visible on YouTube, and this is going to be down the line, but just having 2 cameras, you can cut, probably 3 cameras. So you got like the main view and then cut to you talking, cut to me talking. It'll happen. We'll get there. The production is going to go up one of these days, and I'll be here for it. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's a pretty good place to stop. Getting later into the night, I want to make sure this one goes up, and I think that'll be good. So thank you everyone for listening. Episode 18. We got ASTAT Ep next, not week, but 2 weeks from now.
Gotta practice.
Yeah, Tay's got to practice, and it's going to be a good time. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Keep listening. Subscribe on YouTube, and do all the things. Follow the Instagram, do the things. Share it if you enjoy. And later, everybody. Thank you, Tay.
Namaste.
Namaste.